Veterinary Medical Board, and Candace is here to establish a quorum.
Ready? Dr. Cheryl Waterhouse,
Present.
Dr. Richard Sullivan, Dr. Mark Nunez,
Here.
Dr. Jamie Nolan,
Here.
Jennifer Laredo,
Here.
Kathy Bowler, Lee Heller, Judy Mancuso.
Here. So anyone in the audience, anyone in the public that would like to identify themselves, this is a voluntary thing, you don't have to, but if you would like to, this is the time.
My name is Christina Miranda.
My name is Stanton Lee. I'm from the Office of the Attorney General.
And Judge Kabadik is here to hear our three petitioners, and I'll just turn it over to her.
Good morning. You're on the record.
So I'd like to show that Kathy Bowler is here now.
So I'm very sorry. We're on the record, according to my iPhone. It's 9:06, and the purpose of the hearing today is to review the three petitions for reduction in penalty of Christina Miranda, Trinity Rees, and Tiffany Mestas. Is that correct? Mestas. These matters are being heard before the Veterinary Medical Board. Will all the members of the board please identify themselves for the record?
Dr. Jamie Noland. Judy Mancuso.
Mark Nunez.
Dick Sullivan.
Cheryl Waterhouse.
Jennifer Laredo.
Kathy Bowler. Thank you. A quorum of the board is present. My name is Linda Kabadik. I'm an administrative law judge assigned to hear this matter with the Office of Administrative Hearings. As I explained to the petitioners previously to this meeting, or this hearing, that the board is concerned with hearing any instances of rehabilitation since the disciplinary action was taken. Mr. Stanton Lee, the Deputy Attorney General, will proceed first to present an overview or background to the board. And after that, you will have an opportunity to make your presentation. As a reminder, the board has the benefit of reading your petition package, and you don't have to repeat anything that's contained therein. You'll be subject to questioning by the board members and also the Attorney General. After the hearing, the board will go into closed session, and you will not receive a decision today, but you will receive a decision in the future. May I take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General?
Stanton Lee from the Office of the Attorney General.
Could you spell that?
Sure. Stanton, Stanton, last name Lee, Lee.
And Ms. Miranda, I note that you're present without an attorney. Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Christina Miranda, Kristina. Miranda is Miranda.
Thank you. Mr. Lee, will you proceed?
Good morning. Again, my name is Stanton Lee from the Office of the Attorney General. I'm here today pursuant to Government Code Section 11522. I'm not here in an adversarial role. However, my goal today is to assist in eliciting information from each petitioner so that the board has all the information in front of it in order to make a decision and in order to further public protection. Under Business and Professions Code, Section 4990.30 sub F, the petitioner bears the burden of proof. She must establish by clear and convincing evidence that she is entitled to the relief that she has sought in her petition. In this case, a reduction in her penalty. I ask that official notice be taken at this point as it provide a summary of this particular petition by Ms. Christina Miranda. On January 8th, 2015, the board filed a statement of issues against petitioner Christina Miranda. In it, the board alleged that Ms. Miranda's application for licensure as a veterinary technician was subject to denial on multiple grounds.
Excuse me, Mr. Lee, do you have the petition and would you like me to mark it in evidence? Or do you want me to mark the board's petition package?
The board should have the entire petition for reduction of penalty in front of it for Ms. Miranda. In it includes her petition packet, which I can summarize, and as well as the board's packet behind-hand.
Why don't I go ahead and mark as Exhibit 1 the petition package?
Okay.
And Ms. Miranda, have you seen the petition package?
I have.
Do you have any objections to my taking official notice of it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will take official notice of the petition package. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, go proceed.
The statement of issues alleged that Ms. Miranda's application was subject to denial on multiple grounds. First being conviction of crime substantially related to the qualifications, functions, and duties of a veterinarian technician. Those convictions included a 2010 conviction for violation of Vehicle Code Section 23-152 sub B, driving with a blood alcohol level of 0.08% or more. A 2007 conviction for violation of the same code. A 2001 conviction for violation of Penal Code Section 647 sub F, public intoxication, as well as Penal Code Section 853.7, failure to appear after written promise, and a 2000 conviction for violation of Vehicle Code Section 23-152 sub B, driving with a blood alcohol level of 0.08% or more. The statement of issues also alleged unprofessional conduct for dangerous use of alcohol for those same convictions, unprofessional conduct for having convictions involving the consumption of alcohol, and a allegation that Ms. Miranda committed conduct that, if committed by a licensee, would constitute grounds for discipline. Ms. Miranda entered into a stipulated settlement where she was placed on 4 years probation with terms and conditions that included alcohol or drug rehabilitation program, submission to drug testing, abstaining from controlled substances, and abstaining from alcohol. The stipulation for discipline became effective on May 15, 2015. Ms. Miranda has been on probation for approximately 1.5 years. The petition package before you includes Ms. Miranda's petition, which has multiple pieces of exhibits, a declaration of support from G. Pinto, a declaration of support from A.S., and the last name is A.U.L.A.K.H., a proof of enrollment or completion in a drug and alcohol program, 2 pages of AA attendance sheets, proof of application for membership in the Southern California Veterinary Medical Association, proof of registration in the Southern California Veterinary Medical Association Education Portal, confirmation of volunteering with the California Veterinary Medical Reserve Corps, proof of membership with the California Veterinary Medical Association, a certificate of membership with the California Registered Veterinary Technicians Association, 9 continuing education certificates of attendance and completion, 2 pages of the Western Veterinary Conference record of CE sessions completed, 3 pages of a 24-hour fitness printout of petitioner's fitness routine, and confirmation of submission of application for undergraduate enrollment at Cal Poly Pomona. Also included as a part of the packet in front of you is the board's packet, which includes a January 6, 2017 memo from enforcement analyst Candace Rainey. I believe there is a typographical on that memo. It indicates there is a 5-year probation. In this case, it is 4. Also in the board's packet is the decision and order dated April 15, 2015, in case number IA 2014-37, the stipulated settlement and disciplinary order in that case, and the statement of issues in that case. Because the burden is on Ms. Miranda, I have no further statements at this time. However, I reserve the right to ask her questions, and I would turn this case over to the board now.
Ms. Miranda, would you raise your right hand, and do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving at this hearing today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
This is your opportunity to present your reasons why you believe the penalty should be reduced. So you may proceed with your case.
To the board members, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you. I didn't have a formal statement prepared, but I did want to say that every time I hear my past, it stings and it's mortifying. But as I think I can prove to you, I have changed. And this was a long time ago, and I'm definitely not the same person I was. I have every intention on continuing my education and furthering my career. And that's pretty much it.
Do any board members have questions of Ms. Miranda?
I'm sorry about the voice, but when you signed the stipulation that said you were signing on to take the test, to be an RVT, and that you would be on probation for 4 years, what compels you to come before us before the 4 years? Why, if you were okay with it then when you signed, are you no longer okay with it?
Thank you for asking. So every part of the stipulated settlement, I am completely fine with, except for one, the drug testing. And I have a couple of reasons for that. Number one, it's expensive and it's gotten more expensive. Number two, it's impossible for me to make plans that go beyond 24 hours just because I never know. And number three, the indignity of having to urinate in front of somebody. And I do believe that I have proven that I don't use drugs, and I have not used alcohol since 6 years. So that was on the 17th that I had 6 years of sobriety. Thank you.
Do any other board members have questions?
First of all, I want to thank you for coming before the board today. I know that it has to be extremely difficult task to do, but I definitely admire efforts of rehabilitation and congratulate you on your sobriety. One question I have is that a lot of petitioners come before us. They enter into terms of probation having already been sober for many, many years and pretty much consider themselves already rehabilitated. And when you're granted a license for an RVT or a DVM, you're asked to show even more time of rehabilitation. Why do you think that's justified if you're already rehabilitated at the beginning of your probation, that we ask for you to show additional more time of rehabilitation? Why do you think you're put on probation in the first place?
I actually respect the fact that I was put on probation. That means that you take all of your RVTs and DVMs extremely serious, and I think this is a beautiful profession for that. I don't believe I am rehabilitated. I believe I'm a work in progress, and I believe that the board should have every right to see that I'm continuing to work for it.
Any other questions?
Maybe could you describe or tell us how you said it was expensive. Give us an idea of what's involved and what the costs are to you.
Of course. So with this new company, First Lab, the tests are $62.50. No, I'm sorry. They just raised the price at $63.50 per test, and then the collection fee varies between $20 to $40. Usually, if it's during the week, I can do the $20 test because there's a facility open. And if it's during the weekend, it goes up to $40 because I have to go to an urgent care. So the cost of a test is anywhere from $83 to $103. And then it just depends on how many times a month I get tested.
And on average, how many times a month is that?
So for the first several months, I'd noticed it was approximately 3 times a month. And for the last couple of months, it was 2 times a month. However, it is my understanding that it's not to be consistent, even though sometimes it appears to be that way.
Any further questions?
I have another question. You've only been convicted of alcohol and never been convicted of any drug use. The drug testing that you go through, though, that also includes alcohol? Is that correct or no?
So I've never actually asked First Lab, but I would assume so.
Okay. Does Candace know?
It does.
Okay. It does. So that's pretty much kind of what they're testing for mostly, but okay.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Lee, do you have any questions of Ms. Miranda?
I just have a few, Your Honor. In your petition package, you have 2 declarations of support, one from Dr. Pinto and one from Dr. Alak, from the Adobe Animal Hospital, where you've worked since 2012. What are your interactions with Dr. Pinto and Dr. Alak?
So Dr. Aulick is the owner of the clinic. I work with him about 4 days a week, and I work very closely with him. Pretty much any case that he is involved with, I usually have some kind of hand in it. And Dr. Pinto started off as a relief doctor, but now she's permanent on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Are you currently on probation for any type of criminal case?
No, sir.
I saw in your petition package that you completed your drug and alcohol program in October 2015. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But your package also includes AA attendance records. Are you continuing to go to AA at this time?
I am continuing to go to AA, but I did want to let the board know it is also a stipulation in the stipulated settlement.
Okay. If the board were to grant your petition and reduce the penalty in any manner that would not require you to continue to go to AA, what's your plans regarding that program? Would you continue to go to AA?
Likely I would, probably not on a regimented schedule, but at times that are more my convenience.
In the time that you've attended AA, how has that attendance helped you in your life?
It reminds me of where I don't want to be.
Have you learned any coping skills through that program?
I have picked up some coping skills. Number one is to talk about it with somebody.
Anything else?
No.
Do you have a support structure at home for days when you feel really stressed or overwhelmed?
I do. So at home, I have my husband. He's been with me for almost 16 years, and he's been a very strong support with me. He does talk with me anytime I'm under a lot of stress. Other than that, I have lots of pets, and they help tremendously. And then, of course, I go through my fitness routine when I'm having a really hard day.
What is your sobriety date?
My sobriety date is January 17th, 2011.
AA has a program of steps, correct?
That's right.
And what is your favorite step?
Number one, admitting I have a problem.
Part of your petition package also includes printouts from 24-hour Fitness, a gym. How do you feel that plays into your day-to-day lives, your day-to-day life? And how does that help?
So on average, I go about 5 times a week. I spend about 2 hours a day there. And it's very nice to get the previous day's cortisol levels completely out of me. Also, it reminds me that I need to get up early in the morning, and it helps me have a more structured lifestyle.
Your petition package also has documents showing that you are a member of various associations related to your profession there. What are some of the things you do with each of the different associations?
So the association that I'm most active with is the SCVMA, and I attend several of their CE.
Excuse me, is that SCB as in boy?
I'm sorry, SCV is in Victor, MA. Yeah,
And that's the Southern California Veterinary Medical Association?
that's correct.
Okay. What about the California Veterinary Medical Reserve Corps and the California Veterinary Medical Association?
So the Reserve Corp, they haven't called on me for anything. So aside from being a volunteer, I don't have much more correlation with them. And I'm sorry, the second one.
California Veterinary Medical Association?
So the CVMA, they actually gave me a membership when I first got my license, and I do read their magazines that they put out in their articles.
So as of your last arrest in 2010, have you been arrested since in either California or any other jurisdiction?
No, I have not.
Since your last conviction, have you been convicted of any other crimes outside of California or in California?
No, I have not.
That's all the questions that I have, Your Honor.
If I may, I'd like to ask one question. Ms. Miranda, do you have a sponsor?
No, I do not.
And is there a reason why you don't have a sponsor?
More because I only joined AA about a year ago, and there's nobody that I really feel connected with.
And if you only joined a year ago, how many times do you attend AA meetings?
Right now, I go twice a month.
I have 2 questions. One, do you do any volunteer work? And the second question is, what is it that you don't like about AA? I sense there's something that maybe is negative with AA. So can you tell me those 2 things?
I'm sorry, the first one?
Do you do any volunteer
Oh.
work?
So yes, I actually do, but the reason that I didn't submit it is because I didn't get proof of it. But recently I was a volunteer in WAGs for Watts, which was where DVMs, RVTs, and veterinary associates, they came to meet up and were giving free wellness exams, free spays and neuters, free dentals to people in the Watts community. And that was, I want to say it was in November. Welcome. And then as far as NA goes, I do like hearing their stories, but I don't really have much more of an involvement above that. And the reason why, I'm not really sure. I mean, I do like hearing their stories, like I just said, but a lot of the times I don't feel that they are the right people to relate to. I've only tried one group so far.
You piqued my interest when you said you had pets. How many pets do you have?
So I have 3 cats, 1 dog, and a ton of fish.
What kind of dog?
She's an Australian cattle dog.
Nice.
I just have I have one question. You said that you don't think you're rehabilitated when you were asked about AA. I get a sense that you aren't fond of AA as well. So what do you do, or what will you do to make sure that you are on the road to rehabilitation.
The reason that I said that is I believe that the moment somebody thinks they're cured of something, they may try it again. And for me, alcohol didn't work, and that's why I feel like I'm still on the road to recovery. But I do intend to continue my intense workout regimen and continue to talk to my husband and stay sober.
Your Honor, if I may, a few additional questions.
Go ahead.
How long did you say that you were married?
So in June, it'll be 3 years, but we've been together for 16 years in February.
Okay. So you were together with your current husband at the time of the convictions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. How has his support changed from the time when these convictions occurred to now when you're relying on him as your support system on days when you feel that you need support? How has that changed between before and now?
I'm glad you asked that. So before, we were just kind of seeing each other on and off, boyfriend, girlfriend. We were living separately. Our relationship wasn't the greatest. And when I got the DUI in 2010, I want to say it was like May 30th, he offered to actually take me in, have me quit my job, and find another way of life. And so that's how that relationship has evolved. Ever since then, we've been so much more happy.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Mr. Lee, do you have any closing statements?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Miranda, do you have any closing statements?
I just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to come here.
Thank you. This concludes the hearing in this matter. As I said before, you will receive a decision, but you won't receive a decision today. If you'd like a transcript, please see the court reporter. And thank you again for coming in this stormy weather.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing in Ms. Miranda's case, and we're off the record. Okay, we're back on the record, and I'd like to call the petition of Trinity Reese. Please come forward.
Good morning.
As I stated earlier, this proceeding is to hear why you think your penalty should be reduced. And as I explained before, Mr. Lee will go first. So Mr. Lee, would you like to proceed with an overview of the case?
Yes, Your Honor. For purpose of the record, I will restate that I am here appearing on behalf of the Attorney General's Office pursuant to Government Code Section 11522. I'm not here in an adversarial role. However, my job here is to assist the panel with fact-finding so that the panel has as much information as possible when making its decision and to further public protection. Under Business and Professions Code Section 4990.30 sub F, the petitioner bears the burden of proof. She must establish by clear and convincing evidence that she is entitled to relief sought in this petition, which is a reduction of penalty. Ask that official notice be taken at this time as to provide a summary of the case. Before the board should be the petition for reduction of penalty package. I'd ask that Judge Kabatic mark that as Exhibit 1 and receive that as evidence.
I'm identifying for the record the document described by Mr. Lee. Ms. Reese, have you seen the document?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any objections into my admitting it into evidence?
No.
The document is submitted.
The petition package includes two parts, a petitioner's packet in the front and the board's packet in the back. And I will summarize what is in those materials in a moment. For Ms. Reese's case, on September 24th, 2014, the board filed a first amended statement of issues against Ms. Reese. In it, the board alleged that Ms. Reese's application for licensure as a veterinary technician was subject to denial on multiple grounds. Those grounds being, number one, conviction of crimes substantially related to the qualifications, functions, and duties of a veterinary technician. Those convictions were on January 2000, violation of Vehicle Code Section 23-152 sub A, driving under the influence of alcohol. In February 2000, violation of Health and Safety Code Section 11350 sub A, possession of a controlled substance. And in November 2000, violation of Health and Safety Code Section 11350 sub A, possession of a controlled substance. Ms. Reese entered into a stipulated settlement with the board wherein she was placed on 3 years probation with terms and conditions that included a psychological evaluation, submission to drug testing, abstaining from controlled substances, and abstaining from alcohol. The stipulation for discipline became effective on February 6, 2015. Ms. Reese has been on probation for nearly 2 years. The petitioner's packet in front of you includes Ms. Reese's petition, and that includes a June 13, 2016 personal statement from Ms. Reese, a declaration of support from Sarah Santiago,
I'm sorry, from declaration of support from
Sarah Santiago, a declaration of support from Karen Blount, B-L-O-U-N-T, a letter of reference from Tara Groney, G-R-O-W-N-E-Y, 4 pages of evidence of completion of continuing education, a February 2011 order for dismissal of San Francisco Superior Court case number 1869722, a February 2011 order of dismissal of San Francisco Superior Court case number 1895074, a September 2011 order for dismissal of Alameda Superior Court case number S460014B, a November 2012 order for dismissal of San Mateo Superior Court case number SC057367A, a July 2011 order for dismissal of Alameda Superior Court case number 462650. The packet also includes a January 5, 2017 memo from Enforcement Analyst Candace Rainey. I'll note that the memo includes a typographical indicating that probation was 5 years. In this case, it was 3. The decision order dated January 7, 2015 in case number IA 2014-5. The stipulated settlement and disciplinary order in that case. The first amended statement of issues in that case, as well as the statement of issues in that case. Because the burden is on Ms. Reese here today, I have no further statement, but reserve the right to question her. And with that, I turn the case over to the board.
Ms. Reese, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
This is your opportunity to present the reasons why you believe your petition should be reduced, so you may proceed.
Okay, well, thank you very much for hearing me today. My sobriety date is November 22nd, 2004. I got sober long before I even knew what an RVT was. I got sober through Alcoholics Anonymous, and I do attend 2 to 4 meetings a week. I do work actively with a sponsor once a week, and I do sponsor 3 other women currently, and I meet with them weekly and take them through the steps. My number one priority is to stay sober long before I got a license to be a registered veterinary technician.
I do believe that me being able to be an RVT is a direct result of my sobriety. I would have not been able to go to school or sit, and try and get a license without being sober. All the trouble I got into, which is bad, sounds pretty bad, in 2000, it has been almost 17 years since that has happened, and I just celebrated 12 years in November of sobriety. My husband is an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous as well. We met in Alcoholics Anonymous, and we do that together. And I do, like it had been said before, it is approximately $400 a month for me to test, which is a huge chunk of money for me. Each test, like the lady before me said, is $63. Each test that I test at is $40 to test, and then $100 a month probation, and then the hours that I have to miss of work to test. Since there's no close test place to my work, I do have to go about a city away to test. And that's the prime reason I want to get off the probation early. It takes time away from my job. It takes a lot of money to stay on it. I have been able to travel with the probation. I just test in different states or wherever I'm supposed to be. So that isn't a problem, but financially it is quite a burden. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Do any board members have questions of Ms. Reese?
Yeah, I was very interested in your volunteer work in the Bay Area. Could you explain what you do there?
I volunteer with Bad Rap. It's an organization where we go into low-income areas and give free vaccine microchips and spay-neuter. I went to tech school with a girl that's really involved, and that's how I got into that organization. We do an event about once a month. Their prime goal is to educate people about spay, neuter, microchipping their dogs. So it comes from a place of non-judgment, and that's why I really like that organization. They're all about educating and teaching the people how to take care of their pets instead of judging them for it or knocking them down for it. So I really like working with Bad Rap, and I believe what they do is a good thing.
Ms. Reese, could you spell out the initials for the court reporter so she knows what specifically the letters are?
Oh, BADRAP.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, I'd like to thank you for coming before the board. I said before, you may have heard it, I know it must be extremely difficult to come before a board like this for a petition of reduction of penalty, but know that I definitely admire anyone who has recovered from the illness of drug or alcohol abuse. Just a couple of quick questions. The convictions that you had for controlled substances, it says it's convicted for possession with the intent of selling. So you were convicted for selling drugs.
I don't believe I was convicted of selling. I was not ever a drug seller. I did have a drug problem. I was a drug addict. I was never somebody that sold. I think the amount that I had on me, they originally charged with a sales, but did not get convicted.
Because I was a bit confused. It says possession of a controlled substance for sale on both of the charges.
Yeah, they were not convictions of sales.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And so the other question I have, this was definitely 17 years ago, a long, long time ago, and you definitely appear to be rehabilitated. I won't use that term recovered because I know that term's not used. And so the question I always ask, for a person who obviously it's been a long time ago and they're in rehabilitation and in steps of recovery, why do you feel it's important, or why do you feel that this board makes petitioners go on probation in the first place, since it seems to be an issue that has been taken care of?
Well, I believe that they have to be careful about who they give a license to, especially because we're around controlled substances. We're also taking care of little lives. We're in the medical field. So I do take my job extremely seriously. We're not dealing with, cups of coffee. We're dealing with lives. And the DEA is involved, controlled substances. I believe the board has to be careful and monitor. A lot of people can say they're recovered and not actually be. So I believe close monitoring is necessary to see where the person is at.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to thank you again for coming and congratulate you on all the volunteer work and all your sobriety all these years. I had a couple of questions. You have a year left approximately in your probation. One is obviously your time between work and AA volunteering, mentoring, and all the bad rap is a lot. You're busy all the time, it sounds like. About an average of monthly drug tests, what is it average in terms of number of tests you have to do?
I do 3 a month.
3 a month? Oh, okay, and that's pretty standard.
Yes.
And you said you have to travel to, and there's nothing in Hayward.
Well, I work in Hayward. I mean, I live in Hayward, but I work on the peninsula in Redwood City.
Oh, okay.
And so, and I work 4/10s, so I work really long days. So usually the places aren't open before I go to work, and they're closed by the time I get off of work. So I usually travel over to the peninsula, which a town away from Redwood City, San Carlos, there is a place that opens at 8 a.m., which I can get in and just be about an hour late to work. So usually I miss about an hour of work once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Or 3 times a month, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Do you have any pets?
I have 3. I have all 3 mutts, 2 Chihuahua mutts and 1 Pit Bull mutt.
Mr. Lee, do you have any questions of Ms. Reese?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a few. When did you first start attending AA?
God, I went to AA meetings when I was about 18 years old, but I didn't get serious, get a sponsor, and work the steps until 2004
When you became sober?
when I got sober. Yeah.
So since that time, what have you learned there that helps you in your day-to-day life?
A lot. I mean, Alcoholics Anonymous has, as you know, a 12-step program which actually teaches you how to live. It's not just about being sober. It's also about having to live in society. Primarily teaching you how to deal with resentments and not being, like a victim.
What are some skills that you've learned in the AA program to help you cope with any desires or offers to consume drugs or alcohol?
I haven't had a desire to consume since 2004. But what I do learn in AA just to go with life is, like I said, I work with a sponsor through my resentments. I do inventories. I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody, but that's what we call it in the program. I do inventories, I do writing, I do prayer and meditation, and I am active in the program.
What is an inventory?
Well, it's where you write out a resentment. So the baseline of Alcoholics Anonymous believes that resentments offend people, and a resentment is why people end up drinking and using all the time. So what we do is we try and get out of resentment. So we write down why we're resentful, and then we write down what our part is in that resentment. And then we try and concentrate on our part of the problem and not the other person's.
In the past, prior to your sobriety date, did you feel that there was any type of trigger or something that caused you to want to do drugs or alcohol?
I don't feel there was a trigger. I got involved in that stuff when I was pretty young, a teenager. I don't think there was a reason why I got involved into drugs and alcohol. I think it just happened, and then I became addicted, and so I don't think there was a trigger of why. I think it's just the way my life was back then.
Can you tell us the support structures you have in your life for when days get hectic and stressful and hard to cope with?
Like I said, my husband is very supportive. He's in Alcoholics Anonymous as well. We both have about the same amount of time. I do attend 2 to 4 meetings a week. I work with my sponsor. I eat. That's probably the thing I do most when I'm stressed is I eat a lot. But I do have a lot of, I'm active in the program. So we do have, a lot of people around me that are in the same boat as I am that had problems that got sober. And so I relate to them a lot.
Since your last arrest, have you been arrested anytime since, either here in California or any other jurisdiction?
No,
Since your last conviction, have you had any other convictions either here in California or any other state?
no.
That's all I have at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Reese, when was the last time you attended an AA meeting?
Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. Which is a long time for me not to go without one being today.
Thank you. Is there, okay.
So, you're so good. First of all, 3 years probation is kind of the minimum we usually give people. And I know that we were lenient, I'll call it, because of how many years ago it was. And with 1 year to go, what is the primary reason that brings you here? I mean, you mentioned cost, so is that pretty much the bottom line?
Yeah, my husband and I just bought a house, our first house, and $400 a month is extremely expensive. And it also is hard for me to miss work. I've been working in veterinary neurology for the past year, and I really love my job. And it's hard to come in late. I'm not that type of person to come in late or leave early. Honestly, it bothers me to have to miss work, which I know it's totally on me. I'm the one that did this to myself, but I don't like missing work. And the $400 a
How long have
month.
you been working there?
At the current job, just about a year.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Mr. Lee, do you have a closing statement?
I do not, Your Honor.
Ms. Reese, do you have a closing statement?
No, I don't. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I appreciate it.
Okay, this concludes Ms. Reese's hearing. As I said before, you won't receive a decision today, but you will in the future.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
We're off the record.
I'll bring another chair. Should I bring another chair for?
Yes. We're back on the record. It is 9:53, and I will call the petition for reduction of penalty of Tiffany Mestas. May I take the appearance of the Attorney General, please,
Stanton Lee from the Office of the Attorney General.
and Petitioner's Counsel,
Nicholas Leonard for Tiffany Mestis.
and Ms. Mestas.
Tiffany Mestis.
So you're gonna have to speak up because I can hardly hear anybody.
Tiffany Mestis.
This is a time and place that has been set for your hearing in this petition matter. So, Mr. Lee, would you proceed with the overview?
For purposes of the record, I will restate that I'm here appearing on behalf of the Attorney General's Office pursuant to Government Code 11522. My role here today is not an adversarial role. However, I'm here to assist the panel with fact-finding so that the panel has as much information as possible when making its decision and to further public protection. Under Business and Professions Code, Section 4990.30 sub F, the petitioner bears the burden of proof. She must establish by clear and convincing evidence that she is entitled to relief sought in this petition, which is a reduction of her penalty. I ask that official notice be taken as I provide the summary to the board. Before the board should be the petition.
Mr. Lee, are you asking that I take official notice of the petition packet?
Asking that the official notice be taken of the packet that I'm about to present as well as the case summary that I will present.
Okay, and is the petition packet that you have when you intend to place into evidence? Or?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So before the board should be the petition for reduction of penalty, which includes the petitioner's packet as well as the board's packet.
speak up a little bit or move the microphone closer.
Sorry.
I'm having trouble.
I'd ask that this be marked as exhibit number 1 and received into evidence.
And Mr. Leonard, have you seen the petition packet?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any objections to me marking it and admitting it into evidence?
No, I do not.
So admitted.
On January 14th, 2014, the board filed a statement of issues against petitioner Tiffany Mestis. In it, the board alleged that Ms. Mestis's application for licensure as a veterinary technician was subject to denial on multiple grounds. The first being conviction of crime substantially related to the qualifications, functions, and duties of a veterinary technician. Those convictions being 2003, a health and safety code violation of section 664 and 11379, attempted transport for sale of a controlled substance. 2007, violation of health and safety code section 664 and 11377, possession of a controlled substance. This was ultimately dismissed pursuant to Penal Code section 1203.4. The statement of issues also alleged unprofessional conduct for a 2008 arrest for public drunkenness where no charges were filed, as well as a 1999 charge for petty theft for stealing flamingo decorations from the front lawn of a property. These charges were dismissed after completion of a court diversion program. The statement of issues also alleged that Ms. Mestis committed acts which, if done by a licensee, would have resulted in discipline, as well as dishonesty. Ms. Mestis entered into a stipulated settlement wherein she was placed on 3 years probation with terms and conditions that included a psychological evaluation, submission to drug testing, abstaining from controlled substances, and abstaining from alcohol. The stipulation for discipline became effective on July 16, 2014. Ms. Mestis has been on probation for approximately 2.5 years. The petition for reduction of penalty package includes Ms. Mestis's petition with multiple pieces of supporting exhibits. First being a declaration of support from Julia Cummings, a declaration of support from Jan Kovacic, Kovacic, a recommendation letter from Carol Tower, a declaration and recommendation letter from Thomas Wasleben, Wassersleben, 3 continuing education certificates of completion, a May 16, 2016 letter to the legislature requesting clarification to Civil Code Section 2080 relating to the microchipping of relating to microchip scanning of found animals, and Ms. Mestis's curriculum vitae. The package then includes the board's packet, which includes a January 5, 2017 memo from enforcement analyst Candace Rainey. I will note that there appears to be a typographical error wherein the probation is referred to as a 5-year term, wherein it is actually 3. The decision and order dated June 16, 2014 in case number IA 2013-41. The stipulated settlement and disciplinary order in that case, and the statement of issues in that case. Because the burden is on Ms. Mestis, I have no further statement at this time, however, reserve the right to question her, and I turn the case over to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Leonard.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss Ms. Mestis's petition for termination of her probation. First, we aren't here to make excuses or downplay any of her criminal history. You know, it's not good, and she's taking responsibility. However, Ms. Mestis has had a clean record, no criminal issues for nearly a decade. She's also exemplified great work in the veterinary community and as a RVT. And as an example of this, from her past 2 employments, we've included letters of recommendation or letters in support of her petition from the UC Davis Veterinary Teaching Hospital, from both of her supervisors there. Supervisor Carol Tower mentioned that she was consistently impressed as how competent, compassionate employee she was with drive and integrity. Also, her supervisor Thomas Wasserleben also said, commented and how great of a job she did there. We also included letters in support of the petition from her employment before that at Four Seasons Animal Hospital in Lafayette, California. She worked there from February 2012 to April 2005. She was only laid off due to downsizing, and she was also able to obtain 2 highly supportive letters in support of her petition. Additionally, Tiffany's done a lot of excellent voluntary work in the community. She's actually started a spay and neuter clinic through the Humane Society, or in conjunction with the Humane Society of the North Bay, in which over 250 feral cats have been spayed or neutered since November 2016. Additionally, another 150 cats are going to be spayed or neutered this weekend when they have another event with the clinic. Tiffany's role in that has been instrumental. It basically wouldn't happen without her. She organizes the event, including arranging for veterinarians to perform the procedure, for RVTs to monitor the animals after the procedure to make sure they're doing all right. And she also volunteers at a horse stable where she assists however can be done for the horses and cleaning the stables. So her voluntary work has been excellent. Additionally, the main issue here with the probation is the hardship it's imposed on her. Like the previous petitioners, the drug testing, it can be, it's a daily thing. It prevents her from being able to schedule out family events such as camping trips. She likes to horseback ride and do equestrian competitions, and the fact that she can only plan 24 hours in advance really puts a burden on her family life. Additionally, part of the terms of the probation, it requires her not to be in a management position of a veterinary hospital. That's something she aspires to do, and the fact that she can't do it due to the probation is understandable based on the the seriousness of her past acts, and we understand why the board instituted that. However, based on her near a decade of having a clean record, the exemplary work she's done in the community, both professionally and in a voluntary basis, we think the petition should be granted. She should be allowed to lift some of those professional hardships. Another one, she has to inform the employer and all employees of the probation, which again is understandable, but based on the fact she's had a clean record for so long, we feel that hardship should be removed. Additionally, since the probation was instituted, she had a psychological exam from Dr. Peter Bradley, and Dr. Peter Bradley noted that she was able to safely practice as a vet tech, and she also was not likely to pose a risk to animal patients, owners, or veterinary staff. We think that's significant as that occurred since the probation was instituted. And Tiffany's also here, obviously, to answer any questions you may have, so I can let Tiffany talk as well.
Ms. Mestis, do you have anything you'd like to say to the board? Your hand up.
Get right close to it.
My past is not the greatest. I mean, I did make some mistakes. I'm sorry.
Maybe it would be easier if the board asked you
Okay.
questions. Okay. Does the board have any questions of Mrs. Mestis?
Good morning.
Don't worry.
I have 2 questions. One, if I'm not mistaken, the original probation was 3 years, so there's only a few months left of it.
From what I'm understanding, yes.
And then my second question is in regards to the cat with the microchip.
Yes.
I'm very curious, did you end up getting the cat back, or did you leave it in the home?
I left it in the home.
That was a very selfless decision.
Yes, it was. it was extremely hard. But
That's all I have.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to let you know that I'm very proud of you for your recovery efforts and for coming before this board.
thank you.
Did, you submitted about the microchip. Did you get anything back from anyone on that?
Did I get anything?
From the I think you submitted it to the
I
legislature.
did, yes.
Did you get any response back from anyone?
I have not. My, the attorney that was working with me will be following up on that, but that's something that, you know, is huge with the age of microchips. And that's why we microchip our pets. And I believe that should be included in the penal code.
So it wasn't scanned at the vet or the shelter. I can't remember which one was it.
So my cat went missing in 2007. In 2010, he was adopted from a rescue. The rescue organization did not scan for a
They were
microchip.
The ones that scanned.
Right. And a couple of years later, the cat was taken to a veterinarian that scanned the cat, found the microchip, and said, it's okay, you can just re-register the cat. And I was never notified. She did contact Avid, the microchip company, and said she was the new owner of the cat. And the only reason I found out about that is I was calling every 6 months to keep checking to see if anybody had found my cat.
And I want to thank you for your work with cats and spay and neuter. Can you tell me why that's important to you?
There's such a problem with the cats in the community. People, low-income people especially, they don't have financial resources to spend the amount of money that some people charge to spay and neuter their cat, and there's not enough low-cost avenues for them to take. The Facebook posts, the kittens being euthanized, we don't have money, my cat accidentally got pregnant. And, people reaching out to me saying, can you take this cat? Can you take this kitten? Can you, we're moving. It struck just a place in my heart where it's just, something had to be done. And so, I got with another veterinarian, I'm sorry. I started a spay and neuter clinic out of Vallejo, California. And
Vallejo?
Vallejo, at the Humane Society of the North Bay. And once a month, we spay and neuter cats. We charge $15 for a feral cat, $30 for a domestic cat. The feral cats, it includes a vaccine and a dose of Revolution. They also get ear tipped. The domestic cats do not. Once a month, I also hold a garage sale at my house. Our last one was last weekend, and we raised $563 to go towards the vaccines and the effort to keep this clinic extremely low cost. It also goes towards the anesthesia machine that we have to purchase, the SpO2 monitorings, all of our equipment, our ISO, all of our drugs. I have a real passion for veterinary medicine. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. And
Thanks for doing that. I thought it was 5 years probation. No, it's 3.
I'll double check.
How long is the probation? I'm confused. I thought you said 5 years, but we have 3 down.
Correct. The stipulated settlement indicated it was 3 years, and I believe there was a typographical that indicated it was 5.
So it's 5.
It's 3.
It's 3.
Correct.
Okay.
And she's completed
So-
about 2.5 of that.
So why are you coming when you're almost done?
I would really like to own my own spay and neuter clinic. And as a RVT in the state of California, you are allowed to do that. However, I believe with the stipulations that I'm not allowed to have any ownership or management. I was recently asked to take over a shelter management position at the Humane Society of the North Bay if I would apply for that, and I couldn't. And that was really, really hard on me. So that's, I want to further, I want to do more in veterinary medicine. It's my passion.
Also, the petition has kind of been in the process for a while.
And Candace just pointed out to me that the probation did not start until 2015.
Oh.
She was, so is that when the probation started? In other words,
So, according to the language in the stipulation,
The stipulation became effective on July 16, 2014.
the language we currently use states that after all statutory requirements are met, the license is when probation starts. This stuff doesn't include.
Candace, can you speak up, please? I couldn't hear you.
Sure, in Miss Mestis' disciplinary order, it includes language that says the registration will be issued and immediately revoked, the revocation stayed placed on 3 years probation. The language that we currently use in these situations is language that states upon satisfaction of all regulatory and statutory requirements, the license will be issued. And at that time is when the probation starts. Ms. Mestis doesn't include that information, so technically her probation started on the effective date, and then her license was not issued until April of 15,
So how much more time does she have on probation?
until July of this year.
July this year.
When you work at UC Davis, when you worked there in the past, what were your duties?
I worked in the small animal nursing ward. So my job was to coach veterinary students and residents. It was also to look after the patients, administer drugs, check medical records, make sure all of the drug dosages were correct. I had blood bank responsibilities to cross-match and make sure the blood was compatible with the animal receiving the transfusion. I worked a 40% position, so I was required to work different shifts, days, nights, and swing shifts. It was an amazing experience to be exposed to that level and that caliber of medicine, and it's I look forward to returning to another similar 40% position.
And the spay neuter clinic that you're associated with
Yes.
now?
Yes.
And you said that's once a month?
Yes.
And where is that, where are the surgeries being done?
The Vallejo Humane Society, the Humane Society in the North Bay. It's on
Okay.
Sonoma Boulevard.
And do they have a veterinary premise permit?
Yes, they do. Yes. Yes, I yes. I checked that, yes.
I think you answered one of my questions about, did you have a management position offer right now? And it sounds like you did have something, or
I
have
did.
something as available if you could. And that's at the Humane Society.
Mm-hmm.
And then a second question, right now, you're trying to get back into the part-time UC Davis, when another opening opens up, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Employment-wise?
Yes.
Okay. And then I did understand, and on the timing, on the drug testing, et cetera, your equestrian work, traveling, and you do eventing, I assume you do travel a lot, or try to travel a lot?
Yes, I try to travel a lot. Mm-hmm. This last year, I was showing a big quarter horse, primarily in Northern California. But the days do start very early. You're loaded at 4:30 in the morning, and typically don't get back till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Long days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much for all of the work on the spay and neuter, and your dedication is obvious all across the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your petition states that you underwent psychological evaluation, and they recommended against making therapy as a requirement for practice. And your terms of probation do not have any requirement for attendance for any AA meetings or any rehabilitation programs. So are you doing any sort of efforts to address any problems in the past?
I'm not attending NA meetings or AA meetings. I feel that my issues that I had in the past were isolated incidents. I feel that I've taken huge steps in my life to distance myself from any chance of that.
How do you deal with stress?
How do I deal with stress? I ride horses. I teach children. There is no greater feeling than having a parent trust their child, their everything to you, and trusting your judgment to put them on this big 1,000-pound animal. And that means a lot to me. My work with the spay and neuter, helping people that helps tremendously. It could be a full-time job. It really could. My husband is just phenomenal. He's a retired police officer, 35 years, Oakland Police Department. He worked DEA. He's where we come from. His side of the family is law enforcement. I'm a stepmom. That can add its own challenges. But just a family, the family support. There's always somebody there to talk to. There's always something that needs to be done. Just keeping busy.
And did you tell us already how many pets you have?
I have 4 cats. We have 2 dogs and we have 2 horses. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lee, before you begin your questioning, I had a senior moment and I think I forgot to provide the oath to Ms. Mestis. So, Ms. Mestis, would you please raise your right hand? And do you swear that all the statements that you've made thus far in this hearing are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And the statements that you make from taking this oath will also be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, and I apologize
okay.
for my senior moment.
It's okay.
Mr. Lee, would you, do you have any questions?
I do have a few, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In your petition, you indicate that the conduct underlying the discipline against your license is unrelated to your practice as a veterinary technician. What is your understanding for why the board would be concerned with providing you the license in light of your background?
I think that the access that veterinary technicians and the access that assistants have to controlled substances, I think it would be of a great concern. I think that the board would do their due diligence to monitor and make sure that that the person that is licensed remains a good representative of the Veterinary Medical Board.
One of the concerns that was raised in your petition is the restrictions that come with the testing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one of the things that your petition states is it keeps you from going on trips, correct?
Correct.
Have you ever attempted, before going on a trip, contacting the testing companies to find out if there are facilities nearby to where you are planning to go that you would be able to test at if required to do so?
Yes, we went to Hawaii last year, and they did not have a testing facility in Maui where we went. I was still required to log in every day. They did. My probation officer said, in the future, if that was to happen, that I would be placed on a toll status, so whatever time that I go on vacation would not count towards my time on probation. I would just need to give her notice.
So there are avenues available wherein you could still plan vacations and still undergo testing.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any current support structure in place in case of days when you have a lot of stress and you feel overwhelmed?
I think family is a huge part of my life. I think animals is a huge part of my life. I think the friendships that I've cultivated in veterinary medicine. I think the spay and neuter clinic is huge. My mom has been instrumental in, talking to me. I think, family is really the backbone of everything to me. They're the only people that will be there for you, regardless of what you go through. And I was raised in a Christian school. My faith in God is very, very strong. And it sustains me through a lot.
Do you currently take, or strike that, do you currently consume any alcohol?
No.
When was the last time you had alcohol?
November 2012. I also have polycystic kidney disease, which, I also have polycystic kidney disease. It's stage 2 to stage 3. And so basically there's cysts that grow on my kidneys, and any type of, if I was to take alcohol, it does hurt. It just, I guess the filtration, it's painful. And I have been advised that drinking with kidney disease isn't advisable, nor, controlled substances or anything. And even ibuprofen, they recommend against taking ibuprofen. They said Tylenol is okay, but anything other than that is, could be detrimental to my kidneys.
Since your last arrest in 2008, have you had any subsequent arrests either in California or out of state?
No, I haven't. No.
Have you had any convictions since 2007, either in California or out of state?
No, I haven't.
That's all the
I
questions.
think, I think in 2007 it was a dismissal. I don't think it was another conviction, was it?
My records show a conviction, but that the record was ultimately expunged.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
The conviction was 2003, and in 2007 it was reduced and dismissed.
I'm sorry, could you say that louder?
I believe the conviction was in 2003, but in 2007 was when the court reduced it to a misdemeanor and then dismissed it. It's in the brief.
Thank you.
Those are all the questions I had.
Any other questions from the board? Well, this concludes your hearing in this matter today. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
As I said, you'll receive a decision within, I should ask, are there any closing statements that you wish to make, Mr. Lee?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Leonard, do you have any closing statements?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'll continue on. You will receive a written decision, but you won't receive it today.
Okay.
And we thank you for attending, and if you'd like to request a transcript of these proceedings, please see the court reporter. With that, the record is closed and we're off the record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We're now going to take a break and then we'll go into closed session. Take care.